Alright, hello everyone, Fanfire here. Today we will be watching my partner Randiv face off against Snuffaluffagus in the Immortal Invitational tournament. Oh, there it goes. Let's see what happens. Obviously, I'm rooting for my teammate Randiv, but so sorry if commentary ends up being a little biased, but I will try to be neutral-ish. For any of those, since I didn't make it completely clear, Randiv is the hunters and Snuffaluffagus is the Drac today. So, whoa, my apologies for that. Knocked my water bottle over. So I talked a bit with Snuff before the match, and well, he didn't say anything that would give things away. In truth, we more discussed the fact a few details of the match, of my match versus his teammate Mystios, but with the supply train underway, so Randiv it has become a rather meta to do the superhero start, and that's what Randiv has opted for. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Oh, well, I'm not sure you need to check both men, but okay. So not an Ireland start. Alright, surprising return and a knife. Okay, at least, okay, that's good stuff. Knife is definitely nice to have on Mina. some people even say it's essential to have a knife on Mina. So, let's see. Okay. Just Sister Agatha. I think since you had surprising return, I would have done a search there. Rather than I would have done a search there since you have a surprising return. I would have done a search so that you could summon her Sister Agatha back the moment combat comes around. So I think that simply putting it straight to ally was a mistake. But, well, we'll see. Yes. If it had been a Jonathan Harker, I could understand it, but it had been Jonathan Harker, I could have understood him just allying here and now. But both Rufus and Aggie can wait till you actually need them. You can wait till like just when they would they just approximately when they are about to take effect to summon them back. So that'd be a just lingering threat. Am I going to summon Aggie back? Am I going to summon Rufus again? So I think that was unfortunately a mistake on my partner's part. So what did Galone discard? A dog? Okay. Wait. Night Supply? Okay, thank goodness you weren't punished for that. Alright. Interesting. Yeah, the standard misdirect. Standard misdirect your starting location. Not at all surprising. Yeah, randomness is that he did a night supply. Yeah. Randiv has commentated in the past that when he's playing hunters, he has a tendency to go on autopilot at times. So I think that's quite possibly what happened there. He knew that he's used to doing just supply at first during the game. So but yeah, traded his entire hand to Seward, so he wouldn't have to discard anything more yet. So, any good starting locations for Dracula? I mean, well, all we really know is that he didn't start an island. The main part of England, still possible. Still entirely possible. Yeah, there's not much to say at this point. I mean, skill levels of players. I mean, a year ago, Randiv got second place in the American side of the regional tournaments, and second only to Pizza Wizard, who is the current reigning champion. Even though he has yet to actually compete with Scott Sword and come out on top. But But, well, whatever. Uh, he... So, Randiv has a good amount of skill, but he's not one who plays the game all that often. Snuff, however, plays far more frequently, and he got to the top 8 in New Blood. So I'd say that as for our two teams, Randiv and I have had a rough start so far, and as this is the week 3 match for Randiv. From what I recall of the scoreboard, I know from what I know of the scoreboard, Randiv and I so far got 2-0'd twice for the first 2 weeks. As for Snuff and his partner Islios, who I played earlier today, I know that they have also had a certain amount of struggle. I think, from what I recall of the scoreboard, I don't want to misquote, so don't take my word alone for it. But I think that they are actually the next worst off, where they've only won 1 or 2 at most. But all that is, if I recall the scoreboard correctly, so far as they go. Yeah. I suppose I'll take a peek. No. Okay, no, I was slightly mistaken. They're 2-2 at present, as they have fared slightly better than Team High Lords of Low Waters. And that's the team that's 1-3. But if Randiv defeats Snuff, Randiv and I can finally get onto the board and try to start climbing the ranks. I don't know what's going to happen, but obviously, as Randiv is my teammate, I want the Hunters to win in this case. Oh, Harker. Oh, but you have Aggie equipped. That's awkward. You have the surprising return. Okay, yeah. That is precisely the sort of thing as to why he should have searched with Aggie earlier. Because he can always surprisingly return her. At dawn or dusk. But not many. But well, what's done is done. Sadly, Randiv missed out on one search. So at the very least, we'll know where this ruin token is before, and he'll at the very least have one day to try to get to it. Assuming that he doesn't find a newspaper or doesn't get a lucky scouts, etc., to tip him off sooner. We shall have to see. what sort of discard pile do we have? A steak. Ooh. I mean, with a sewer to Goldoming combo, I can easily see a steak being discarded over there. So, I mean, yeah, it's not impossible to say, but it's definitely of interest to Drac. Oh, apparently that nice play didn't get away with that nice play. So Drac has a Drac event. I wonder what that is. Well, it wasn't a play immediately, or if it was, well, then again, basically, if it has any sort of play immediately function, for instance, if it's roadblock or roadblock summons storms, but we can rule out the ones that are play immediately no matter what, which are Great Wolf, Emmanuel Hildesheim, Dracula's Brides, and I think there's a couple others that are always played immediately. But Roadblock and Summon Storms, he has that option of waiting to play those till another time. I just hope that one misplay won't cost Randiv the game. Let's hope that it's something relatively, something that's relatively, weakish. Like, I mean, some ones that would be better for Randiv. I mean, at this stage of the game, Sensationalist Press would be one that you wouldn't want Drac to have. But on the other hand, okay, scouts. Aha! Amsterdam starts. Alright. Yeah. So, rather popular, the Amsterdam start. At least for some, but things that would be more nasty for Dracula to have gotten hold of would be things like seduction for one, as that would be very nasty, as Mia will likely have to search a spot with a vampire eventually. And then he simply plays seduction. Mia gets bitten and dies. I mean, there's always, of course, Unearthly Swiftness. I mean, fortunately, we know that he didn't get Emmanuel Hildesheim, because that's an always play immediately. Drac doesn't get any choice about that one. So, we would know. There could be Enraged. I don't know. So, let me see. 1, 2, Let me see. 1, 2, 3. So if either Goldaming or Seward has a chartered carriage, then they'll have the necessary movement to get there in time. Another thing would be Aina, or for that matter, Mina. If basically, if either of these, if anyone on the mainland has a chartered carriage, they get there in time. Van Helsing, with an excellent weather, could get there in time. Random seems to be thinking about some sort of dawn thing. Okay, horse. Slow horse. Not good. Not good for the hunters. But who knows? Perhaps there is a chartered carriage amongst the stuff. Other ways for them to get there in time? Yeah, if that had been a fast horse, a sense of emergency would have been enough. Second stake in the discard. Several firearms. Two holy bullets. All the holy bullets, so Drac doesn't need to be afraid of that. Although I wonder if Snuff does know that the exact count of everything. Alright. That, combined with a sense of emergency, gets him in there in time. But I like his split approach here. He's having Goldaming come in from the south while he goes up via the north of area of Germany. And since I do like that because that doesn't leave the east. That means that there's still someone like barring the gateway to the east, even though he's still approaching the area where the hunters know Dracula is. So I actually like that. I like that approach. Let's just... As for what to do with Mina, I would probably rail to Bordeaux, possibly a Paris if you have the right ticket, or if instead you're holding a horse, then okay. I'm guessing that was a 2-1. That's only at a guess, but well, who knows? Well, I suppose Randiv does. That's both crucifixes accounted for. But here's the thing. Even if that does mature, I mean, the hunters might be slightly better off if it does, in truth, and that's because, and the reason for that is that of course, or these next three things will also get wiped, and then, well, then the chase can be on. It, I wouldn't be, and it's not all that unusual for the first vampire to mature, like if it's the first thing, the first encounter. So I wouldn't be too crestfallen if it happens. I mean, obviously it would be better if it didn't, but we'll see. But on the other hand, if it does mature, the hunters have less trail to deal with, so I honestly expect that a wolf form will happen before too long. Because now with the hunters moving in, it's quite possible he'll want to jump over someone soon. Especially if he's gone, like, Cologne, Strasbourg, Zurich. Like, if he's headed straight south, then he could well want to jump over Munich to go to Vienna. Apparently that's not the case. At least he's not wolf forming, but we'll see what happens. Hmm. So, I might check Nuremberg, make sure that he didn't go over to Prague. Because to do that, he would have had to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and make sure, in other words, that he isn't slipping past your barrier. I might check that out. Yeah, we don't really. Okay, horse, and he gets a 1 again. Apparently, horses just don't like Randiv. Okay, he has not been into Zurich. He does have the sense of emergency. Good. That means that he can at least stop the rumor token. At least, if he has a stake. Not necessarily, and if he doesn't have a stake, he may not be able to do it. Although the fact that there was no ambush seems to say that that's an aristocratic, and therefore, even if he doesn't have a stake, things should be just fine. So, yeah, Van Helsing coming off England. Makes sense. Then Mina. Move Clavran, perhaps? Start moving towards Goldaming so that we can start doing scans. Or possibly check Nantes. And then go to Le Havre to meet up with Van Helsing. So that he can start doing scans. Possibly some trades. I don't know. There are arguably quite a few things that Mina could do. Whoa! Hello. Whoa. Alright, so to get there from Amsterdam... Okay, ambushing with desecrated soil. So does mean I have a heavenly host. So for him to be there right now, gonna have to, I'll have to look at the map to look a bit later. Because the thing is, he could get there in 4 moves. If he had wanted to. 1, 2, 3, 4. But instead it's 5 moves. A hide card, perhaps? I don't know. So, now, Harker will tell them. Okay, he declined to do a surprising return, although I might have done that. Oh, nice, ooh. Nice one. Heroic leap. Nice one. So now the question is, will he be able to deal with the rumor token? But the thing is, I might, considering that you now know where Dracula is and you just whopped him for 5 damage, I might just intentionally let that mature, so that you have only a desecrated soil plus one other thing on the trail to worry about, and then you can just chase after Drac. I actually might consider that. It would be risky to be sure, but just letting it mature. He does have the stake, aristocratic, so not the. But then again, that means he won't get delayed for dealing with the next thing. Okay, Mina's almost certainly gonna rest. Because, after all, she has to pay a price for that 5 damage. Alright, so this is interesting. So he went to Brussels first. Okay, so... To be at Toulouse now... Possibly then Strasbourg, Geneva, Clermont-Ferrand. Yeah. I wonder if Dracula might be tempted to feed, to try to just knock Mina out. But... My guess is that he'll wolf form, so that the hunters will have to discern whether or not he wolf forms over to Genoa, down to Spain, goes back up to northern France. And that last one is rather unlikely, as then he'd be right in the middle of things. But I at least would be tempted to wolf form over to Milan. Or at least that general area. Okay, went for a normal move. Interesting. question is, what is that Drac card? I mean, it still could be practically anything. At this point. So, with Goldaming, I would check Marseille. Make sure he's not trying to sneak east. Because for him to get, since she was at Bordeaux, for him to get to Toulouse within 5 moves, one, two, 3, unless he's been to Marseille, he either has to have been to Clermont-Ferrand, or he's been to one of these locations already. So I likely would choose to go to Marseille, as that will tell you whether he's trying to slip east, at least if he's trying to slip east directly. Alright, so is he sending Goldaming there to trade? To destroy the Heavenly Host, perhaps? I don't know. Okay. So Seward is obviously going to have to go to Brussels, as he's the only one who can approach that. At least in time to stop it maturing. Unless Mina has a sense of emergency, but I think you would much rather have Seward step there than... Okay, so Seward also has a horse. What? You're just gonna let Brussels mature? Alright, but I wouldn't have done that if I were you. So he was never at Paris, so that means that he... And since he was never at Le Havre, that means that he went to Strasbourg, then Geneva, Strasbourg, Geneva, then the only thing that's unknown is what this card is. It could be either Clermont-Ferrand or Marseille. I suppose going down to Mina, I would have had them meet up in Marseille, and leave the desecrated soil for the moment. Admittedly, just for the moment, but simply leave it long enough where he would leave it so that he could deal with the rest of the trail first. Because I'm not sure why he just left Brussels. I suppose we can say safely that it's not seduction. That's Dracula's card, because he would have likely used that to bite Seward and make it so that he got something out of the aristocratic vampire up there. I mean, mind you, he got a stake discard that way, which means that there's only one stake left. But alright, and what will he... I suppose, yeah, ticket. Makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. Showing a holy circle on her. Yeah, I haven't paid much attention to that for a while. Is not in Gallia. So with one step, that can only mean he went to Spain. Alright. But the question is, what is about to mature from Brussels? A spy. Okay, that's... Since the ambush and mature effects on a spy are the same, it's not the worst thing. Okay, he made Gul'dam discard a knife. Ooh. So, Drac knows all of Gul'dam's cards at present. So he went down to Spain. We know that. What I'm curious about is how is Randiv going to handle the trail? Because you can't just let everything mature. There could be a random hoax. I mean, one thing that would be rather nasty that would usually that is much more nasty when it's matured than not is a mob. And since everyone's just sitting there in France, everyone could get hit by it, and everyone could take a decent amount of damage. Oh, renewed vigor. So he's gonna try to go in for the kill. I'm not sure how much I agree with that, especially with Gul'dam just having gotten sniped, having an item sniped from him. Especially since I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's a hide card, like if he went to Barcelona then hid. And is going to go to sea the next day. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, he may have other stuff, like Gul'dam might have a lucky find that would make him able to refill his item by finding Drac. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, one way or another, since you know he went down to Spain, I would go to Barcelona with Gul'dam, as that serves two purposes. That one gives him information as to whether or not Drax has been or is there, or two, that that gives him the information as to that gives him a place to resupply in a big city, because you need to make up for that lost item. Yeah, with that trail, I can't really say that I agree with Randiv using renewed vigor right now. Unless he thinks that if he really thinks that he can jump on him and kill, then I suppose. Okay, so went to Saragossa first. Another spy. So that means that Randiv's gonna have to show hand this time, since he has a host and he's gonna have to lose his tickets, which could be rather brutal for horses. Or wait, no? Didn't he show a heavenly host? Oh, but they did a trade. I see. And that was another knife. Ow. That's nasty. So now Gul'dam is unarmed. And definitely unready for combat. And yet he continues to search for him. Again, lucky find, maybe? But now with Seward, Seward is probably encouraged to. Okay. Next spot to check. Yeah, is he just. Okay, not Santander either. Yeah, I don't like this. Okay, Van Helsing has a third horse. Ah, got a fast horse roll. So I would have him go address Strasbourg and get that out of the way. Alright, so what now, Van Helsing? Yeah, I think Randiv may well be overcommitting into the Spain play. But then again, if it's not Barcelona... If it is not Barcelona, then Drax still has needs to move one more time before then it's Madrid. Then it has to be Madrid. Okay, since Mina has a holy circle, I would say check out Barcelona and see if that's where he is. Because she has holy circle as a get out of jail free card, I would say it's worth the information at this point. You're already kind of committed, so let's just finish it. But since he's at Barcelona, the Hunters now have really overcommitted their... have now really overcommitted into Spain. And there's stuff that's I mean, there's gonna be another mature right now. I suppose we hope that it's something like that you put down something like a rats, wolves, something. Okay, yeah, I suppose Harker's kind of served his purpose at this point, but you realize that he doesn't have to fight, right? Because due to the fog, he doesn't have to fight, and it won't fight. Yeah, so now Glaming has one item card, and is therefore no real shape to chase, as the only item card he has is a horse. He needs to refresh his arsenal. Oh, crap. Gave Drac another event card. Yeah, I'm not liking how this is going. But... let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only with now 2 in Dracula's hand? Huh. With... so it had been... so the count had been at 9. So there were 16 left at the time. 52. 16 out of 52. Yeah, I can see why you might see that as good odds, but... This is gonna be rough. Because now Jack just goes to sea and then wolf forms out of the Mediterranean to make it all the way to Milan or something. And for all we know, he has the summoned storms. He could have roadblocks. I mean, I suppose at this point you kind of hope that Strasbourg is a new vampire, so that it matures and gives him a little bit of points, but clears the rest of the trail, so that you're free to just start resupplying, and he chose to lair it. So therefore, it wasn't anything significant. So in that case, things paid off. But So I know the next location, since he wasn't at Paris, then the next location is Geneva. So if he can address it, he probably should. And the good news is that Dracula is damaged. He's taken 7 damage so far. I mean, thanks to the heroic leap and now a sea voyage. But the problem is he could go to South Atlantic. He could go if he moves by sea, even a couple turns, even one for that matter. If he could wolf form out. I honestly think that in Drax's place, I would likely go to the Ionian, and then wolf form ashore to Sophia. So I expect that we'll see something like that. I do hope that he sends Gul'daming to Madrid to resupply. Because chasing after Drac with only a horse is definitely not a recipe for victory. I don't like this. Okay, Seward. Yeah, they're simply... But that's the thing. He could move once by sea and then go to South Atlantic and land back into Spain, while they're just chasing shadows over in like southern Italy. So I would say that this is looking pretty decent. This is looking decent for Drac. But then again, he's taken damage. He hasn't gotten any influence out of it. I mean, he has some event cards, yes, and those could definitely swing the game. But I don't know. But Helsing is also very low on equipment. Yeah, those two just need to, like, go to Marseille, and then just supply up. Yeah, they're in no shape to chase. Another thing that was insignificant enough to make it into a lair. So, Randiv's getting lucky for that. For just leaving those alone. So the next spot is either Clermont-Ferrand or Marseille. So he chose to move the sea, so he's no longer in the Mediterranean. He went either South Atlantic or Tyrrhenian. So, money trail would be nice. But... Oh, that's why Van Helsing's down. So he traded all his stuff to Gul'daming. I can see why. Yeah, so now Gul'daming's hopefully ready to chase. I mean, there are 2 knives out of play, and Drac must be rather happy about that. But there's still plenty of firearms about. Yeah, but Van Helsing definitely needs to... Alright. So, he either went to Iridian. Yeah, so he's sending him to where he can intercept him if he did go to Iridian. Oh? Local rumors. Oh, that actually is very... that would be very useful. If... Okay, so it was Marseille. That local rumors did reveal that it's Marseille and not Clermont-Ferrand. That's the last remaining location. Because... if that had been... if that had been drawn by Mina... Well, I suppose that wouldn't have helped... Well... shame. If that had been drawn 1 day later, that would have told it... And if Drac moved by sea again, and Seward drew that tomorrow, then that would have been excellent. But... oh well, it is what it is. So Van Helsing needs to get somewhere to supply. Marseille... the problem is that Marseille is also where this last encounter is. So... the thing is, you can't have Mina comfortably leave Spain yet, because of the hazard of South Atlantic, he could land right back into Spain. Rufus. That would have been nice a little bit sooner, but... You no longer have surprising return. What do you do here? That's actually a good question. Chose to keep Aggie, which I can fully understand. But... that is actually a very difficult choice. Now that if you still had this surprising return, like had he supplied with, had he searched with Aggie the first time, and then not done surprising return yet, then I could definitely see him replacing Harker with Rufus, but... money trail. Which way did he go? Tyrrhenian Sea. Nice. Good. That is definitely very nice to have. So, now that the threat of him landing in Spain or going up to England is gone, he can just have his hunters pursue him. So, but I expect that Drac will move by sea 1 more turn, go to the Ionian, And then the Wolfhorn Short. It was aristocratic. So Drac does get 4 points out of that. But on the other hand, Drac is starting to run low on health. He has no encounters. The trail is cleared. The hunters know exactly where he is. So now they can just give chase. At least most of them. Then Helsing will definitely have to wait a bit. As he needs more cards before he can. Okay, yeah. Now the thing is that if at present the only place Drac can land is in the east, is in the far east. But if Drac moves by sea again, he could actually try to go to Adriatic and backtrack on them. I'm not sure that would be worth it, but yeah, I think that things are definitely looking up for the hunters. Since they have the money trail, they have all the information they need. Yeah, Marseille is actually one of the swiftest paths to the east. So, not to mention that opens up the possibility of trading. Since Mia does not have a horse, I might actually see her going by sea to get to the east. Okay. Another garlic wreath? Okay. So, yeah, trade. Makes sense. That way he can give Van Helsing some things that he doesn't have to just completely stay behind. Yeah, if Drac chooses to simply land in the east, and there is always we know that there is a heavenly host floating around on them, and siege. Now what Drac needs to be afraid of right now is CG, or consecrated ground for any who watch this and don't know what CG stands for. So he should Wolfhorn ashore, despite the fact that he'll be more damaged by doing so. Mind you, he has a good head start on them in the east, with the exception of Gul'daming. He will likely try to head for Castle Dracula. And what I would do is I would Wolfhorn ashore to Sofia, then go Belgrade, Klausenberg, Castle Drac, and then make my way back to Black Sea coast. Yep, wolf form. Yeah, the thing is that Wolfhorn to Valona, and he is safe, but that doesn't make all that much sense, as he really can't afford a bunch more sea travel. And of course, Castle Dracula is where he can heal 5 by stepping there at the Unearthly Swiftness. So that's one of them. One of the strongest track events of all. So that means that he can now go to Bucharest or Belgrade. At least, for going towards the castle, at least. But the bad news for Drac is that the second week is not yet even over. And he's still in an awkward spot. But due to those two Drac events, this game is far from over. The hunters, I would say, have an edge. They've managed to lower Drac to, at present, 5 HP via forcing him to see and heroic leaping him. So, alright, let's see where he goes. I personally would go Sarajevo, because in the event he chose to make Valona his Wolfholm location, Sarajevo is a reasonable choice. Okay, good. Fast horses. Does Van Helsing still need to supply? Or is he, do they think, equipped enough as is? Because he has the third horse, so... Yeah, I would start sending Mina by IC if I were hunters here. Because she doesn't have a fast horse. Okay, so that means that he'll catch up with Seward. Yeah, Dracula will be very pressured. Because that Ionian Sea will have to fall off the trail before he can reliably go to Black Sea. I just hope that the hunters don't overcommit and make sure to make sure that they acknowledge the possibility that he is going to use Valona to go to the Adriatic to go to Italy. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how I would do this, but... Okay. So Mina should have moved closer. Like, or at least should have gotten closer to, like, over here. To northern Italy, so that she could play around, be ready to act if Dracula does happen to go to that area. Yeah, working on horse economy. I get it. Yeah. So, Dracula could now be at Bucharest. But the thing is, if he went to Bucharest, he'll find himself somewhat hemmed in if he goes for Castle Dracula. But I assume that he is going to go for Castle Dracula, because otherwise, he's just going to be in trouble. But then again, if he wolf formed initially to Sophia and then went here, right next to where Goldaming was, he could now be there, and he could be hoping that these two jump over him, and then he'll be free to go into the west. But then again, I suppose he won't be completely free, because then the natural place for them to jump to would be Sarajevo. At least I think. So I'm not sure what exactly I would do as Drac in this situation. Being at 5 health, the only good thing about being at 5 health for Drac, in this sense, is usually when you're Drac and you're at 5 health, you're afraid of Heroic Leap. Oh, a Renewed Vigor. So that's why I use the first one, okay, go ahead and use Long Night, although I don't exactly see. Although that's the worst Hunter event. It doesn't really help much. So, Goldaming can check Klausenberg, which is one of Drac's natural ways to get to the castle, and he could well be there. Okay, got a 1 on his horses, which in this case that's not the worst thing, because as I just said, he could be at Klausenberg right now. And there is still... hide at Belgrade. Nice. A new vampire. But the question is that second one a fog? Because if it is, the hunters could be in trouble. A second new vampire. So it's a double vamp situation. So if Randiv's lucky and both Van Helsing and Seward roll 2s on their horses, that means that they'll be able to take part in this too. And then Dracula, even one of them getting there will make it very difficult for a 5 health Dracula to survive, especially with Sister Agatha still in play. So any escape will deal damage to him. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm not... I wonder what the second Dracula card is. Okay. Yeah, standard escape and mesmerize the escape. Yeah, I imagine that Randiv will want to reveal as little information as possible, so that he can save the info for the real fight. The thing is that chances are high that Drac has a Hemley host. Did I say Dracula? Whoops. Oh, a pistol. Nice. Although in this case that does little more than punch. But the important thing is that he blocked the plotting. Okay, so that's both mesmerizes, that's both mesmerizes, done. Yeah, so this vampire's goal is to deal as much damage to Goldaming as possible. Nice, well done. Yeah, that is one thing. Since there are 2 knives in the discard, as you can see, it is definitely dangerous for the hunters. It's far more likely that they may well end up being bitten. In this fight, it's simply 2 damage, and to restore the 1 health that the vampire lost. And especially since that's Goldaming, that's not that big a deal. And of course, it was a day fight, so it's not a bite. So now I suppose if you're Goldaming, you simply either rest or or you get another event, hoping to get something like planned ambush, lucky find, etc. So, Seward, your turn. So he's going to have to fight through both vampires, since he... but the good thing is that... since they're new vampires, they can team up on them, so that they can at least team up on at least one of them. I don't know exactly how fighting multiple new vamps in the same spot, whether you can become delayed for both fights. I don't know. Okay, good. He got his fast horse. Looking good for the hunters. But the question remains: what is that second Dracula event? Is it perhaps a devilish power? Or an enraged? What? He's applied? What? I suppose he doesn't want to engage in combat right now? I suppose that makes a certain amount of sense. Okay. Newspaper. Flipping up Sophia. But he's got to be careful, because this was an opportunity to do a 3v1. Yeah, that would have been a 3v1. Yes, there's 2 new vampires to have to fight, but now Goldami will have to face Drac alone. I can't say I like that choice. I would, if you're gonna use the renewed vigor, actually use it, especially when you find out that you have a golden opportunity to do a 3v1. Scouts, lol. All right. Yeah, so he has Sister Agatha to help him. So Dracula will not be able to heal in this combat from fangs, as Sister Agatha will prevent that. And if he chooses to escape, he will also take damage. So plan to ambush. Oh, this is good. This is good. This is looking good. So with planned ambush and Sister Agatha up, Dracula's gonna be kind of pressured, especially if you're. I think what the logical thing to do as Drac is to play a Fang, because that means that Gul'daman can't switch to a. That means that Gul'daman can't switch to a Heavenly Host and just douse you with 4 damage right off the bat. Mind you, if Dracula has Enraged as his second Dracula card, something might be done here. Alright, let's see what Drac chose to start with. Plotting. Oh, I don't know about that. You know that he has a pistol, so he can deal 2 damage while still blocking that. I don't know about that one, Snuff. Possibly a bad combat hand? Yeah, I don't know about that choice. It's possible that he simply had all 3 escapes and 2 plottings, and therefore had whoa, not switching to the pistol? That's very bold, in a sense. I definitely want to switch to the pistol to deal 1 extra damage. Because that extra damage, every bit of damage counts. You already showed him the pistol, so why not? I'm gonna have to ask Randiv about that one. So, post game chat at some chat at once the game is over. I'll go ahead and Snuff and I discussed this before the match, so we were just thinking of doing a post game chat, so just getting that out. Henley host? Nope. Yeah, that's another reason, another part of why he should have done the pistol with the planned ambush. And there is still 1 knife unaccounted for. Escape his bat. Oh, that he had the knife. That that means that, yeah, this is almost certainly GG. Because now trying to escape is no longer an option for Snuff. He just needs to try to survive. So, So you now know all of Goldoming's cards. There's no Heavenly Host to worry about, so what I would do in Snuff's place is a Fang. Claws? Escape? Alright. That's surprising. I would press your advantage. You have Aggie in play, so if he tries to escape again, then you just die. Then he just dies. So yeah, I don't agree with that one. So Dracula doesn't have wolf form, so he can't misdirect his wolf form location. So he has 2 options as to what. Although I might actually, weird though it may sound at first glance, at first, is I might actually do a feed and do a daytime fight with Drac, with Goldoming. Goldoming is getting low. You know there's no combat tricks, no combat events, so you know exactly what he's got. So you might be able to... you won't be able to heal, but that's precisely why you feed instead. Even though it's not GG yet, as Snuff thought it was, it's looking very, very good for the Hunters right now. Because there are only 2 places he can go. Klausenberg and Bucharest. At least without provoking a dawn fight, that is. Yep. Snuff seems to be sharing my line of thought. Hidden schemes. Oh, that's real good. Because since Belgrade is that spot, he's now being able to position possibly a 3rd vampire, or possibly a fog, here. I mean, the first the first order of business is for them to survive. Is for him to survive this daytime fight. Uh, he knows it's nothing but a knife that Gul'daming has. And if he's lucky, he might even be able to kill Gul'daming. Yeah, I think bad mistake not to continue pressing his advantage in the last combat. Yeah, if he had played well, for that matter, if he had simply punched, Drac would be dead now. Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, Dracula will want to sit through this entire combat. So, Gul'daming will have one chance after another to land a knife hit. Okay, strength. Yeah, claw. Knife. Okay, so Gul'daming takes more damage, but Drac is now down to 1 HP. And at this stage, giving Drac 4 influence, that would put him up to 8. They would have to deal with the rumor token. They would not be able to let that mature. But I think Drac might try plotting, because the logical thing for Gul'daming to do... I wonder if the hunters have great strength. Because if so, then you definitely punch. Try to finish this once and for all. Either that or escape to Fangs and went with punch. Is there a great strength? No. However, Sister Agatha denies him the healing, so he's still at 1 HP. So now the hunters have to deal with Sophia at some point. The issue for the hunters is there are 3 encounters here at Belgrade, and he only just added 1. And by now, surely he's drawn a fog, right? Yeah, so unless they're holding a forewarned, I think that stepping in would be a mistake. I think what I would do is I would send Seward to... let's see, what does... Van Helsing has several things. Are all the stakes... Yeah, there's no stakes left. Then again, there's still a couple more days. Drac is now out of events. It could be that you simply supply, get more events to potentially, possibly do a CG, possibly... possibly force him to step onto you. But by blocking off Klausenberg and Bucharest. Yeah, if there's a CG, it's time to use it. You can force him out of his fortress of encounters and out onto you. And with 1 HP left, it will be very surprising if he does survive. Alright, so Dracula has to move now. Dark Hall, of course, would simply kill him. So, he has to move out of his fortress now. Even though it's more obvious, I would go to Klausenberg. So that you're closer to the potential healing. Yeah, the thing is that Sophia down here is now win condition for Drac. If that matures, and it is a real vampire, the hunters lose. So in that case, perhaps you would rather go to Bucharest. Yeah. Yeah, so, but then again, what if you simply chase after him? Have one of them go to Klausenberg, if he's there, send the other to join him. If not, simply go to Bucharest with the other, and force another combat. It's a good question. How much do you acknowledge the threat of Sophia? The thing is, Dracula has to take one more move after this one before that will be threatening to mature next. So the hunters do have a little bit of time, but they will have to make the most of it. All right. So, yeah. So, yeah, he's just in wrestling in his mind as to whether to go to Klausenberg or to go to Bucharest. I myself, considering that Sophia is a win condition, I might just bank it all on that maturing, because you know that they have no stakes. Speedy Telegraph, that's good. That's good. This means that Mia can supply first. Well, that won't do much good, but she could supply first and if that were a hunter event, there would be a chance of scouts. So now, let's see if he guesses right. So, yeah, checking Bucharest, and he did indeed go there. So if that's the thing is, at this point he almost certainly put, okay, well that's not enough to stop the combat. So at this point, especially as Seward Seward just has to spend a ticket with any yellow to get there. So I would just do that. So at this point, a 2v1 night fight with a 1 HP remaining and Sister Agatha in play. Yeah. This is... I think that this game is going to go to Randiv, which... Oh, Dr. Stewart has a planned ambush, too. Yeah. Drax, this is just GG. Yeah. And Snuff knows it. Even if the hunters simply do a double punch, since Sister Agatha is in play, that it. Even if the hunters simply do double punch, Sister Agatha will prevent Fangs from healing him out of range, and then he dies. So yeah, this is just game over. Trying to snipe a heavenly host and get a little bit of satisfaction. I can see, but nope. GG, well played. Want to do post game? Want to do post game? So let's see if I can get these guys in here for a post-match interview. You'll hear the music stop for a bit. Okay. Okay. Hello, Snuff. Mind talking a bit so that we can... Hello? Okay, first I need to modify my thing to... One moment, I need to modify my thing to... such the recording will catch this. Let's see. Audio... application. Okay... Here we are.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Good. How about you two talk a bit? It's that we can make sure that this is working.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Let's put that down. Turn that down a little bit. Okay.
Testing.
Okay. All right. So then, so some questions. Randiv. First of all,
It wasn't pretty, but I won.
Yes. You guys might want to fill out the post game while you still remember how much influence Drac had. 8.
Yeah.
But why? One thing I don't understand, Randiv, is why did you escape with Gul'daming when you had him right there at 4 HP with Sister Agatha in play? He wasn't going to be getting away. You could, and also, well, there's actually two things about that combat that I would like to know. First of all, why didn't you switch to the pistol with the planned ambush, as that also blocks plotting? That would have dealt one more damage.
I couldn't remember if I had a pistol or a rifle, and the interface doesn't let you check.
I see. Whoops. Well, but yeah.
Because it turned out Seward had 2 rifles, so I had rifle on the brain.
Well, and then despite the fact that there are 2 vampires, why didn't you send Seward and Van Helsing there as well? Because they have the movement necessary to make it a 3v1 against a 5 health Drac. Why not?
because I was afraid of them getting killed before they got there.
Very unlikely with 2 day fights. I mean, especially mind you, if you had when you sent Seward in, uh,
Wait.
when you sent Seward in, assuming that you did send Seward in, there would have been, you could have ganged up on one of them to try to kill one.
Wait, no. He was definitely right to avoid going into the day fight when I had 1 health left. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm referring to before you fed.
Oh, before I fed.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I'm guessing that hidden schemes placed down a fog.
No, Hidden Schemes placed down a third vamp. I didn't draw fog until after I made my final move, and I put the bats down. I drew a fog right then, which was kind of annoying.
Oh, so the
So-
so the fogs were the bottom 2 encounters in the pile.
I played one fog in Barcelona,
Yep.
and then the second
Oh,
fog
right.
I
I
drew
forgot about
in
that
the
one.
last draw there. So if he had walked on in to Belgrade with 3 things on it,
Yes.
I would have been able to have 3-day fights per hunter that moved in with the ambush.
Yes, but I'm referring to before that, seeing as before the feed, because at that point you hadn't yet put down the third one. Two
He was
each.
3 spaces away then, right?
Well, except that he used a renewed vigor. Remember?
Yeah, but he had
could
lousy
have.
horse economy.
Yes, I could have. I had the chance at the
He got
on the
twos with.
turn that Godalming jumped on you. I could have had the other 2 there. I just at that point I knew there were 2 more vampires.
Yeah, he was
And,
smart. That was the right way to go.
So I thought I could block. I also miscounted how many exits there were from that space. I thought there were only 3. So I thought I would know exactly which space you went to, and I could jump on you with all 3 as soon as you were forced to move away.
Well,
But I was off by 1. But then I still, at the end, I finally guessed correctly instead of.
yes. Although, mind you, you only had to find him with 1, really. Especially with a planned ambush on Seward like that. But that aside,
Yeah.
I for one disagree, because you could have had Seward and Goldaming team up on one, so that Van Helsing would only have 1 fight. Potentially.
I think maybe Seward. I don't know. I was concerned about
I can see. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
when Scott Sword beat me. That was one thing he did at one point, was instead of coming in at me, he just surrounded me and then heavenly hosted. And that's one thing I never got concentrated ground.
Yeah, obviously. Otherwise, you definitely would have used that that first night. You would have used that to force him out of his fortress of vampires, to make him step on you.
I know what I did wrong. I also had Long Night in play, so Godalming could have moved off that space.
That possibly would have been a good idea. Yeah.
That would have been the better play, because then 3 of the 4 spaces off would have had a hunter on them, and he would have had to move away.
I mean, at the risk of giving him a Drac event, such as, for instance, that could have given him I'm not sure what he could have gotten. Like, for instance, what about, there could have been a Darkness Returns.
There could have been.
For one example.
Yep. I can't seem to make it through a game without doing a complete.
Yeah, it is.
Lapse,
it is definitely nice though to see a game where, even though Drac gets events, the hunter manages to squeak through. If you'll pardon me putting it like that, but
that's what it was.
Yeah,
if he got back to Castle Dracula somehow, that could be a problem. So
which I guess I just should have done better about counting how far away your hunters were, because I thought I was going to get to Castle Dracula until you moved Godalming, and I was like, well, I'm not even strong enough to take on Godalming 1-on-1, so I need to just plop down some vampires and hope that you jump over me so I can feed like right after that, or move towards Castle Dracula. But you got a 1 draw on the horse, which kind of precipitated you landing on me.
Yeah.
You got
What?
that
Exactly.
was.
That was lucky.
One last
I thought that
thing.
you would have drawn if you had drawn a 2. I think you would have jumped on Sophia or something, or you might
Yes,
have
that's where I
gone
would have
over
gone.
me, right?
That was my plan.
And then I could have continued on to the castle, which is probably what I would have done, or tried to slip by you, or even just gotten a little bit further away. But I think in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have gone to
Belgrade.
Belgrade. I
Honestly, I
thought
think
that I
that
would
was
be able to
actually
get to the
correct.
castle. I thought
It,
that I could get to the castle quicker with that amount of health.
the
Or maybe I should have just
it
like not
was
used the whatchamacallit, the
unearthly swiftness.
unearthly swiftness then. I was hoping to just make it possible to get the castle. So I think that was probably not the best idea because I figured he would know I was in Sophia
Yes,
and
I
jump on
understand
me.
you. I understand you using the unearthly swiftness, and I think that it was definitely okay to use it. But I think that Belgrade was actually the correct thing to do because after Castle Dracula, how do you exit that area if you go Bucharest
Right.
first? Bucharest is the natural way out to Black Sea Coast. So actually, I think you did the right thing there. Uh,
I will say the one thing I do think I should have done that I didn't is I forgot that fog tokens are removed after each phase. So I could have fed in Barcelona with Mina.
you,
That would have been
you could
much
have,
better.
yes.
I don't know if that would have changed the game, but
I
maybe.
think that it would not have because I Spain, your trail still would have been white, and in fact, actually, I think that would have been bad for you because of the fact that that would have given him more time to get ahead of you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially with him having money trail. Uh, then again, I suppose it's debatable, but the other thing, uh, uh, what was it I was going to ask Randiv about? What, why the, what, why didn't you
Hmm.
send Mina to pursue by sea? Since she had no horse, you could have brought her up behind him, and once you figured out where he was, you could have pursued by sea, and then he would have found someone coming behind him as well, and
Well, I was digging for events. I was hoping for great strength or consecrated ground. Those are the two I never got. And if I had had great strength
yeah.
at that point, that would have certainly been useful.
I definitely thought of that as that would have meant he would have died then, but it,
I will say one thing that I do kind of wish at the very beginning, and it's unfortunate because I realized midway through the stream that I didn't turn my mic on, so I was like, okay, well, it's not worth turning on now. So there's a silent stream from me, which is not all that helpful.
whoops.
But yeah, videography and OBS is not my best, especially when I was kind of rushing to get started because I was a little late.
Oh, you're
Um,
late too, huh?
yeah, I was late too. So yeah, I was trying to rush and I didn't even realize because a lot of times if I'm recording silently, I want my mic off, right? So I forgot to turn it back on. But anyway, I was talking to myself basically at the very beginning because Randiv gave me that hidden schemes right from the beginning, and I was debating because I didn't get any good early cards, right? My early cards were all pretty much crap. So I got an
Yeah,
aristocrat. I put it down first. I thought about, and I didn't have anything to put on top of it. And then once I moved out of Amsterdam, I drew a saboteur, and I was like, okay, well, I could use the hidden schemes now and put the saboteur on top of Amsterdam. But I was like, well, he might get it anyway, or there might be a time when I'm being chased where I want to put something else down
yeah,
and it'll be
and
more
that's
valuable. And it turns out there was a time when I was being chased, but in hindsight, it actually would have been better if I had banked 7, put the saboteur there. I might have banked the 7 points unless Seward had dogs at the very beginning. I would have banked those 7 points with the saboteur ding and Seward. The aristocrat would have matured, and if I had 7 more points, I would have that killing Godalming would have won the game. I mean, obviously everything else would have different. We would have played differently, presumably. But I mean,
it would
I
have
am
to
a
an
little bit
extent.
potentially could have been different.
Yeah, I think you would. I would say you might have had 3 more points at 7 instead of 4. Then you would have been less likely to get that second vampire when I ignored the encounters. That might not have been a smart thing either, but I said, okay, those are the 3 that he thought were going to get wiped. So I'm just going to ignore them.
Yeah, that was definitely risky.
Yeah.
And I was wondering about that. And
And
it paid off in 2 cases. I'm guessing they were, let me guess, Snuff. It was a wolves and a rats, right?
No, it was Spy. The Spy was
right. Spy.
the one that hurt.
Which cities are we talking about?
The things after the aristocratic that he staked.
Spy was on Brussels.
Spy was on Brussels.
Had a Spy, so I did play that, hoping to mess with the ticket economy. And then I had a Wolves, and then I had a Rats in Strasbourg and Geneva, respectively. And then I had the Aristocratic in Marseille, and then Toulouse was the Soil, and then Saragossa was another Spy. And then Barcelona, I had the Fog, obviously. I had thought about if Randiv had moved out quicker and hit the Aristocratic. I thought about using the hidden schemes to put a vampire in like Saragossa or Barcelona or something just to be annoying. That you would have to like deal with. Particularly if I think at that point I probably could have put a rumor token on it as well. So if I had hidden schemed in a vampire in Saragossa or something and put a rumor token on it, that could have been annoying. But Mita did have time to search for another stake. Although I can't remember if like there was one left at that point or if they were all gone.
No.
But that would have been annoying to deal with.
Yeah, but
now, let me tell you something about my supply. First of all, is that by the 3rd day of the first week, both Godalming and Seward each had 2 stakes. and I had drawn, by the 2nd day I had drawn 2 renewed vigors.
Yeah, which is why you spent the first one so liberally.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I thought I might have a chance to catch him before. Yeah, I wasn't thinking enough about Fog.
I mean, it's worth it's worth the try. You can't just let him like as Scott sort of said before. You can't just have Dracula have infinite Fog, but nonetheless, it is. So I think it was now knowing that you had 2. I think that it was worth the shot.
Yeah, and I had, let's see, I got
I will say
horses fairly early, and it took a while to get the white ones, but then I still don't know why I can't get.
Another slight mistake is that you chose to equip Sister Agatha as an ally first, when you chose search, since you already had a surprising return on Mina. That should have been a search, and the why is
there was nothing worthwhile to search at that point. I mean, if it was so low percentage that I would get anything from it.
Every bit counts, man. Since you had the surprising return, you could summon her back anytime you wanted. And that's the reasons for that came into play pretty quickly. With first Harker and then later on with Rufus. If you had searched and therefore saved the surprising return, you would have been able to summon Aggie back when you found and fought him, when you first fought him. Either that, or possibly summon Rufus back, or possibly equip Rufus over Harker when he first went to sea, making it so that he would get even lower.
Well, no, like I drew Rufus when he had already moved to his 2nd sea space.
Well, it still would have done 1 extra damage.
Well, it was like it would be worth 1 damage to draw him up and then not have Sister Agatha if I ever caught him, and I'm happy with the choice I made.
Yes, but yes, I agree, but I'm saying if you had not had the surprising return, you would have been instead discarding a Harker, not an Aggie, and you would still had surprising return up your pocket, in your back pocket.
Yeah.
So I think that was a small mistake, in my opinion.
I was kind of surprised at it, but I don't know. It all ended up being okay because he drew other cards he could use. So okay. I mean,
So I don't remember for sure. I don't remember exactly what I did. I guess so. I have
You
I
you
had Agatha first, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
you had Agatha first, then you equipped
And I
Harker.
at the point that I drew her, the whole board was he could have been anywhere on the board, and I was like, for one shot, I'm just I don't know when I don't know that I'm going to draw Harker at that point. So I just
But you do
said
know
I'll
that
sit on her.
but you do have the surprising return to summon her back when you want her. So you guarantee yourself that you have her when the fight happens. So,
Yeah.
so I maintain that that was a mistake.
So then she was in. Somehow or other, maybe had her first. I don't know. She was in the thing, and I had a surprising return, and I didn't pull her back for quite a while because I remember I kept thinking, do I need to get her yet? Because I'm getting close to Dracula. But then I was like, I can pull her in at dawn or dusk, so I can pull her in before any combat. So I waited until there was going to be a combat to get her back.
Precisely. Uh,
So that's what I did, actually.
yes,
And I
but
needed Harker to get the spaces on the trail at first.
yes, the point is that you could have had one more space eliminated as the first or spot. Like for instance, you could have checked down at Valona. You could, for instance, and you could have checked Amsterdam. I mean, after all, that is a very popular search. So
Well, I did, isn't I think
Yeah.
I checked.
you,
No, it was newspaper
that was
reports, right?
yeah, that was a newspaper. You got
All right.
perfect
I
time
think we get
newspaper.
I think we get the relative benefits and drawbacks of
Yeah.
these options.
So yeah.
What else am I thinking here? Um,
And
I guess the other thing I was thinking, well, when I thought about going from early in the game, going from Marseille into Italy instead of into Spain. I don't know if that would have how that would have worked out. Um,
well,
Neither of them are that. They're
hmm.
both somewhat predictable, but I
It's,
I mean obviously Mina wouldn't have landed on me, but I don't know like if
I don't
I
think that would have mattered much because then, since Gul'dan was already close by, he would have gone down to her so that they could start scanning. I imagine. So I don't think that mattered much.
well,
you know
I mean, remember this was the hero start or whatever. So I had Seward and Godalming at starting at Vienna, so they would have been. They both had horses, so they would have been going sideways, and I think it would have been tough. I mean, on the first move, probably one of them. Well, I guess they did have
I mean,
to.
with how you moved them, Gul'dan was prime position to meet up with Mina, actually. So, and that was before Toulouse was flipped as they moved first, of course.
Right.
So I actually, which by the way, I do like, like how you sent one to stay lower while Seward Gul'dan stayed lower while Seward went up, so that you were nice and split in your approach. To so as to not to leave the east too unguarded. So nice work there. I liked that one.
Yeah.
But is there anything else we want to cover, or shall we?
yeah I'll have to look back at that where I go from Marseille. Um, but other than that, you know, nothing nothing much to it.
I have the one thing is whether did you ever think about? I guess you didn't have a chance. I mean, I left. Well, I was wondering. I one of the downsides of leaving those cities is you could have kind of re-layered, or made a layer and gone back to one of the layers that I never hit. But of course, then I would have had like 300s around you, so it probably would not have worked out very well.
Yeah, and they also weren't all that effective layers. I did by the time I got into Barcelona because you had hit the soil. I did have some vamps by then. But the stuff that was in those layers was, rats and wolves, which are not that helpful, especially when you have a large number of hunters against you.
Wolves is actually
Yeah.
considered relatively good. The Wolves is
It
actually
combos
considered
well with
the
things.
yeah, it's actually the next best thing after a vampire for a guardian. Uh,
Yeah, but it's not that helpful with like multiple hunters around you. There are ways to use wolves well, and I like wolves and mob combos are kind of nice. But I just
yeah, that was one
the
thing I was
well,
definitely worried about. Now that you mentioned mob, I was definitely worried about a mob going off and everyone getting hit by a mob in France.
I thought about doing uh a double like hiding, like going to Saragossa and then just hiding and doing double mobs in Saragossa before I put down the spy there. So that was an option. But like if I could guarantee that I hit like 200 of that, like maybe I'd try it. But I mean, I didn't want to like press my luck. Like I was interested in like what I could do since I had that hidden schemes. Like because
Yeah.
like a wolves and two mobs hidden schemes together could work really well. But it was just like it's hard to know because it's very different if I'm doing that against like three people versus against two. And I knew there were likely some hosts in there, so I'd be kind of risking a lot. So I don't know. I just figured I would like go to Barcelona, plop. I
Yeah,
just drawn the fog.
yeah, I
I just
think
drawn the fog. So I was like, plop down the fog, be safe. And if you, if I felt like it had taken the hunters a while to get to me or something, I could hide there and like get creative with it. But if they got to me pretty quickly, I'd just leave. So I felt like
yeah.
I needed to leave there.
Well, I think that the real decider in this game was how Randiv drew a lot of good events. Like for instance, I think where your troubles really began was the fact that Mean was holding on to heroic leap, and uh, well,
Yeah. Well, that and I just the other reason that there was a problem that I
he just
didn't
drew good events. Uh,
did Mina at that point when she used the heroic leap also have that holy circle? Or did she draw after that?
I
I
think
think
I think she did. Uh, I
yeah, I think she had a holy circle and two knives.
Uh, yeah, I should have fed there, but other than that, I don't know what else I would have done.
And I think
Um,
was she the one that lost the knife to the spy? Somebody or no, that was Van Helt. That was Godalming.
two people lost knives
yeah,
to spies.
Godalming
Actually,
got hit with no.
there are
Yeah,
two.
Godalming got hit with both spies, I think. Right?
Yes. And both times he discarded a knife, I did note
Yeah,
down what was discarded. So at that point, me and Goldon
that
had
was annoying.
traded.
Yeah, so you giving a Godalming a knife was smart because I thought all the knives were gone by that point, so I was expecting host. So I fanged into a knife at the end. Um, but
Yeah,
I must have miscounted, and I knew that Godalming had lost both knives, so him trading a knife to him was smart.
Yeah. It, I will say that I was curious as to why Goldon kept chasing uh, in Spain when he had di- he had nothing but his horse left after the spies, and why you didn't instead of checking Alicante, go to Madrid so that you if you found him at least you would be in a place where you could supply. Uh, so
well,
it.
I don't know.
I was starting to think that you had a lucky find or something like that. Had lucky find. That was really the only. Uh, that was to me the only thing that would really justify that. Uh, but well, who am I to judge when it ended so well?
Yeah, I certainly did not play a perfect game. I made a bunch of mistakes. I mean, the giving you two events was, it wasn't like I said, okay, I'm going to risk this. It was like I did some kind of trade or psychic bond or something. I had it. No, it wasn't psychic. Just some trade, and then I forgot it was night. And I went to the next guy. I said, "Oh, supply."
Yeah,
And then,
I've definitely done that plenty of times.
Well,
And I almost did the thing that I do where, or no, did I do it even? No, like get to Amsterdam and then forget to search. That's a typical me move. Like get a
Yeah, that
train
was
ticket
nice.
yeah.
after I'm there, and it's the last area that
Well,
it matures. But I didn't do that this time. So
well, a good
that's good.
game.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, you got some points, so it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't a free win.
And I saw your game earlier, Fangs, and that turned out well.
Uh,
That was
well, thank you for having my video have a spoiler.
No, Misty has told me, so I knew
oops.
what the outcome was.
Yes, but
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 I
will people who
didn't
watch
see.
this?
Huh?
Yes, but will people who
I'm
watch
sorry.
this?
I forgot that we're recording this and this is gonna be on YouTube. My bad. My bad.
Oh,
Well, I imagine that people will watch
right.
the earlier one first, and versus this one.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
we can hope
but
so. In any event, I think.
Oh, sorry, I didn't think of that. Oh well.
yeah,
Yeah, we can discuss that once we wrap this up. So I think
it's
uh I'm so yeah as Seth said he made a silent recording so you can see what cards he had win if you're interested. So that and I think that we can call it there. That covers pretty much everything.
Sure.
sounds good. Yeah.
uh uh
Now that I remembered we're recording, yeah, we can cut it here.
yeah.